Okay, we've got a really nice little handy carry case. I like these cases. A lot of the drone manufacturers bringing this out. This is an old favourite of mine, the Visuo range. I've done loads of different reviews on them. And this one comes in, like I say, nice little carry case. Difference with this one is most of the Visuos I've done, actually I think it's all of them, have had brushed motors, and this one actually has brushless motors. As you see, a nice little folding drone. It's got a 4K camera, they call it, but it actually only shoots 2K on the video. It shoots 4K in stills. To be honest, at this level and this price break point, I'm not expecting great things out of the camera itself. A couple of little features this does have though. It has GPS, and it's also got a tilting camera as well, which we can alter from the actual transmitter as well. That's really nice. Some of these cameras, most of the ones I've done for Visuo, actually you have to push them down, then take off, do your flight, so you can't actually alter it in flight, which is quite good. You probably noticed already there's a micro SD slot there, which is nice, so it's going to record onboard footage, so we're not relying on a link back to our phone, and it works on Apple and Android phones. So what you get in the box is it comes with 1, 2 or 3 batteries, and I always recommend the 3. It's not going to cost a lot more, and you've got loads of flying time. One thing when you're new to flying drones or you enjoy flying drones, you want maximum flying time, less time charging. The actual arms themselves are really stiff to get out. I was looking for a button to press, but they are that stiff to get out, and then they sort of move quite freely, and then when you get them in here they lock back in again. As you can see, quite a lot of pressure there to get them to go back in. You fold out the top ones first of all, and then you fold out the bottom ones, and then you can get access to the battery bay as well. Like I say, it takes 1, 2 or 3 batteries, or I would imagine they're going to flog you some extra ones as well if you want. It's a 2,500 milliamp hour battery, and it charges via USB. You just get one USB cable no matter how many batteries you've ordered, but I have tried this on another couple of USB to micro USB cables at home, so I could charge them all up at once, and they all seem to charge. I'll see how long a flight I get, and then I'll see how long it takes to charge from completely sort of depleted sort of thing. You never completely deplete these batteries, even if you run the drone right out. Oops, there we go. Let me just turn that back off again. Somehow or other I just pressed the button as I put it in. And there's some LEDs there that run along here. I'll have to do that at home because they're so tiny and red, you really won't be able to see them. I don't think the camera will pick it up in this. So it starts off as a very small drone, but it actually comes out to quite a nice size one. As we look around the bottom, you can see there's an optical flow system, and this also has a 720p camera that points downwards. So not only can you point the main camera downwards, you could actually have the main camera pointing forward, slightly up or down a little bit if you like, and also then start recording on this one as well alternately. The quality is never good on any of these. I've never seen a good quality of these. This is an optical flow system, so you can fly indoors and it should hold position quite precisely, or if it's in very dark areas, or shielded areas where you're not getting a GPS signal, it should pick this up automatically. It swaps between GPS and optical flow, so it should be actually nice and stable indoors as well. Should be pretty good. It's got a nice sort of look to it and everything. I would imagine it's going to be pretty stable. The actual transmitter itself is pretty basic. It's a little sort of Xbox style one. We can change the angle of the camera here, and we've got 2 speeds up here. We can start and stop our video here, and we can take stills here. We can also do that on the app as well. And then we've got a little LCD here that I'll show you when we actually fire it up. It is quite plasticky, as you would certainly imagine, but it actually feels quite nice. I did have a quick go in the garden just to make sure everything fired up and everything worked, and it seemed to fly actually quite nicely. But I'm in a different environment here, so we'll have a look. I'm actually truthfully supposed to be at a meeting now, but actually it's such a beautiful day, and I've got a drone to review, so I'm coming out and playing. The other things you get a complete set of spare props, and as I said before, the grandkids have named these floppy dog ear props. That's what they are. They sort of flop out the way and everything, so it makes a nice small package to go with. The case is very good. It gets a strap that you can put over your shoulder as well, so going about. Good set of instructions. Now they're getting better and better. Visuo have always been pretty good, but these ones are really nice, clear and constructive as well, and quite easy to understand. You get obviously the little screwdriver that you get with every single one, and then like I said before, you've got this cable. Now you can charge this computer, laptop, mains adapter would be your best thing, and something like a 2 amp one that's going to charge your battery up quicker certainly than it will do from any PC or a laptop. Your other option is obviously you can charge it in the car when you're on the go as well. Anything that's USB out, you can use it to charge. The transmitter itself takes 4 AAA batteries, and that's the only thing it doesn't come with. Everything else you're ready to go. Now personally I quite like the little carry cases because you've got somewhere that's going to put it a little bit above the ground that you can take off with, or if you're confident you can take off, you know, hand launch and hand catch, and perhaps we'll have a go at that a little bit later on. You can either turn the transmitter on first of all, or the drone. I always recommend transmitter if you can. And like I say, we've got this little LCD here that gives us a load of information. I'm going to turn on the drone itself now. You simply just hold this button down, and like so, there's little LEDs run up there, and then we get flashing LEDs at the back. There we go, and then it goes into a slow pulse, so we're ready for binding. I'm going to go up and down on the throttle, and then it got red flash, and then it's green flash alternate, and you heard the beep beep, and now we're actually ready to fly. It does recommend you calibrate the gyro and the compass every time you fly. Now I've found with all the other GPS ones I've done, you don't actually need to do that as long as you haven't had a major crash or anything. You heard that loud beep there. It's picked up enough satellites for good GPS lock. You don't have to wait for that. You can actually fly it without, and then it will pick it up as it goes, but it's good practice to actually let it do that. Now the drone will have set up a Wi-Fi hotspot, so basically there's going to be a link between your phone and the actual drone itself. You're not going to use up any data, and you don't have to be near any other Wi-Fi either. It's just purely a link between the two. So go into your Wi-Fi settings, and this has already picked this one up actually. Had to play around with this at home, like I said, to make sure it all works. It's actually come up with 2 options. We'll try it on this one first of all. If there's any difference between the two, I'll let you know in some notes down below. Go back to your home screen. The app we're going to use is FPV Go. We simply press that, and then it's start flight. Simply press that. Now the instructions there, everything are pretty good in here actually. It runs through all the warnings as well, and make sure you're 3 meters away. Submit that, and we're ready to go. We do have a zoom on here, which it was just showing there, so we can actually zoom in and out. I don't know whether you'll see that particularly well. Let's just point that camera up just a wee bit more. Oops. There we go. I was pressing the other button there. So you can zoom in, but it's not an optical zoom. It's just literally pulling the pixels up sort of thing, which is not going to be a particularly great way of doing it. Not something I would use, I must admit. You can always zoom it up afterwards when you're actually editing your video anyway. I'll run through the app more as we get up and flying around as well. To calibrate the gyro on it, we simply pull these 2 sticks down and to the right. You get flashing LEDs at the back there, and then release, and there we go. When it goes back, then you've actually calibrated your gyro. And then to calibrate the actual compass on it, we press this one here. You get a beep, and then we should get some flashing LEDs underneath, which I can hardly see actually. We basically rotate it round, keep it rotating until you get a beep. There we go, we just got another beep, and you can either face it down or face it up. It doesn't really matter with these now. And then you just turn that round about 3 times again, and you get another beep, and that means we're all calibrated. So that means this should be the home spot now, and the LEDs have now gone solid on it, as you can clearly see. So I'm going to start the video. You can either start the video actually on the app, or you can actually use the button on your transmitter. So I'm going to use the button here, and as you can see, it counts up on this one. That doesn't usually happen on some of the others. To start, prime the motors, you can either down and in or down and out. We've got headless mode on here, which I'll show you in a second, and we've got a return to home feature as well. So there we go, brushless, nice and quiet as well. Let's just see how she's holding. Now, actually the breeze has stopped. It was lovely and breezy when I stopped. It was really nice. A nice little quiet flyer actually. You can see there's how much wind there is because of the way it's tilting. Let's just turn it round. So you can see that's definitely over at an angle there. If I turn it round, it will lean back in the other way. There we go. So it's now leaning slightly in that way. It's not a lot, but up there it'll be quite breezy, I can assure you. So again, we can tilt the camera up and down. Let's just move it back for us. Oh, it flies quite nicely actually. There we go. So that's it. It does actually point slightly upwards. Let's just do up there. That's as high as it goes, and it beeps as it does it. We just got the props in there, and then let's just bring that down. There we go, and it goes all the way down to actually point downwards. There we go. They're pretty cool. I'm just going to leave it about there. I think that's probably about right. So if you want to go forward, let's just bring it down. If it's brand new to flying drones, this might be quite a good one to start with, actually. So if you want to go forward, you press this one. It goes forward, as you can see, and backwards. If you want to go to the right and the left, that's called rolling. You roll to the right and you roll to the left. If you want to go up, you simply press this one and it will ascend. Pull this one and it will descend. If you want to turn it, that's called yawing. You push this to the left and it will rotate to the left. And it's proportional, so if you turn it fast, it will go fast. If you do it slowly, it will do it slowly. What you can do is go forward, rolls to the left, turn to the left as well, and ascend at the same time. So you can do all those 3-4 things, and you can choose how much you want to do it. That's in low rates. Let's try in high rates. So simply slide this one here. There we go. Now we're in high rates. Oh, that's a bit better. Actually, low wasn't that low either. And she actually flies quite nicely. Not the fastest. I don't think it's going to break any speed records, to be perfectly honest. They're quite nice. Let's do a quick range test, shall we? We've got good battery and everything, so yeah. And we've got a readout here exactly how far we are. 130 meters. We're still holding well. Wow, that is doing pretty good. That's 200 meters, and we're still holding it on the Wi-Fi as well. That is quite impressive. Wow, 240, 250 meters. Oh, I really don't like flying this far away, to be perfectly honest. I can still see it quite clearly. No problem at all. And if you can see an aircraft way away in the distance, I'm well over 5 miles away from the airport, I can assure you. And we're still working, and that's 400 meters now. Let's just see whether I can. I think we've just locked out on the Wi-Fi. Yeah, I would say we have. I can still see it quite clear, and we're 500, just coming up 500 meters there. So that's pretty good, I would say. Right, I'm going to press the return to home. So we're just on 500 meters. That's pretty impressive. There we go. So it starts beeping. Yeah, the Wi-Fi's definitely gone off. So the actual control from the transmitter will work, but the actual Wi-Fi will run out. And now very, very pleased to see, though I can actually still see it in the sky. It's actually coming back towards me. 400, now down to 400 meters. So we're still locked off on the actual Wi-Fi itself, sort of thing, which is fair enough. Sometimes they don't actually come back on particularly well. So we'll just see how it goes. There she is, just up there. You can see her quite clearly. Well, I would imagine it's a pixel on there. Actually, it's coming back quite quick. Some of them are really slow. When you consider that's just on 500 meters, actually the video's still not come back on. That's interesting. We'll just see how well it comes in. Now, a lot of people want it to land back on the case. I'm really not that interested, to be honest. So long as it comes back into a range, I mean, even this close, I'd be very happy to take this back under control and start flying it around as I want, sort of thing. Not quite over the top, but like I say, I'm really not too worried. Saying we're 11 meters away distance-wise and a height of 45 meters. So it's just starting to descend now. I'm wondering whether I ought to reboot this app, because it's definitely not coming back on the app, which is a bit of a shame, really. Yeah, I think I will. I'm going to reboot that app. Oh, the app's not reconnected. That's interesting. So I might have to just go into my Wi-Fi settings. I did run it out an awful long way. I don't usually fly that far away, to be honest. But the fact it's such a clear day and I could actually see it, I was quite pleased. Oh no, it's picked it back up again. See, that's got that other one. I'm going to pop it on there because that seemed to work okay on that one, didn't it? Let's just try that again. Oh, it's actually not descending. So that's pretty unusual. Let's just pull it down myself. Oh, now it is descending. I think it was still waiting for, I don't think it was waiting for a control to happen there. It's actually in the orientation that I did it as well. It's just rotated to the right position. So I don't think it's going to be very close to that. If you want it to land on a box, this is probably not the one for you. I don't know. Why would you bother? So what you do is simply press the cancel and then it goes back into GPS. Now you can see the wind's blowing it quite hard. It's still coping all right. Woo, going home. So it knows it's going home, but the app is getting a bit squirrely. Let's try that again. Whew, I think I might have to bring the drone back down and restart it, to be honest. Before, on some of the models, I've had to, you know, restart the phone and everything. So I was saying about hand catch, hand launch sort of thing. You can do that quite easily. Obviously, if you're new to flying, I do not recommend you do this. This is just purely because I've been flying for a long time sort of thing. You can just grab hold of it and just pull the throttle right off. Once it realizes it's not going to descend anymore, it will cut it off. You could do the same to actually hand launch as well. Okay, I can't get this to work again on my phone. Now, I'm not going to turn the phone on and off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this. I'm going to turn this off and restart it, and then I can see whether the GPS thing works. And what I'll do is I'll just wander over there and we'll just see how we get on. So when we turn the drone off, which I just did, and I just did something really stupid there, I should stop the video first before I did that. Ah! Why does it always happen on reviews? I'm getting a beep from the transmitter, so if anything happens when this is away and it drops out of the sky, you will get a beep. And also it's telling us here we've got no battery on the actual drone itself. So I've just brought it over here. We were over there a minute ago, and I'm just going to see what it does as a return to home. I've not calibrated it in any way, so not done the gyro or the compass either. So let's just see how we get on. So I'm going to start the video again. Let's try it from up here this time. Oh, that was stills. That's video, and there we go. So it hasn't affected it at all. The wind is buffed in it, so it's absolutely flying. Just going to quickly whip it there, and then I'm going to press return to home and just be interested to see where it knows where home is. So it'll ascend, and you can set all this in the settings parameters for how high you want it to ascend. So if it comes reasonably close to here, as you saw, it's not the most accurate, then we'll know that you don't have to recalibrate the actual compass. If it goes back over there, then obviously if you were 5 miles away and you went and flew again, you really should put it back again. Yeah, it's rotated back round to where we were. I think it's just going to sit, yeah, so you don't have to calibrate the compass every single time. Now, why would I not want to calibrate the compass every single time? If I'm in a city, not that you should really be flying in cities, and I don't have any up where I live, but if you were somewhere where you couldn't actually calibrate the compass, you'd still want to fly. So if you were somewhere that you can't calibrate, you're going to be stuck, aren't you? So yeah, that's my point on it. I think it's either sits there for like hours waiting for you, or let's just press down, see what happens. I think it just takes ages for it to decide once it's above you that it's actually going to come down and land. So I'm getting bored with that. I'm going to turn that off. Okay, right, let's just bring that down. As we're bringing it down, we'll tilt the camera upwards. There we go. Okay, let me just quickly show you what headless mode is. So remember, we bound it up this way, so everything was going that way. Let's just bring it back here. And the other thing, it's defaulted back to low mode as well. Oh, the wind is really starting to push it now. It's starting to pitch into where I'd let go. There we go. So if I put it into headless mode, then whatever way the drone is facing, forward is always forward away from me, that way. So the drone is actually facing that way. So press it forward, it goes forward, right and left, and then back towards me. I'm going to increase the speed because it's actually too slow against this wind. There we go. So you can see the difference there in headless mode as opposed to what I would call normal flying mode. You can sort of rotate as you go in one direction, which is something that it's very difficult to do if you're flying conventionally, but I really can't see a use for that. Some people say it's quite nice in headless mode because you can do like panning shots like this sort of thing. I can actually do that without using headless mode. And actually I find headless mode very confusing, especially if you turn round and you put it the other way, because it's still, though I'm pressing backwards, it's going to go that way, and then it comes this way. So I have to still be facing that way to even fly it when it's behind me. Now, I find that a little confusing, so that's, yeah, not for me. I'm easily confused. I bear a very simple brain. So we've got an orbit function on here, and we just put it above me. Oh, that would be a very exciting thing to orbit, but never mind. So press the orbit mode on here, so just going to press that, submit. Oh, there we go, and then we get the routes here, either clockwise or anti-clockwise, so let's just go There we go, and then you press it to actually activate it. Then that should go off, and then it should rotate and then orbit for us. These things always seem to take so long to do. I can actually fly in an orbit manually is really good fun. There we go. Oh, didn't it take forever? Sorry. I can't do anything about that. That's the software manufacturer. There we go. And then off it merrily goes, slowly orbiting me. Let's just put the camera down a little bit more. And you see, there we go. Quite good. We can actually speed it up usually. There we go. So it should now still orbit. And really difficult into wind, but no, it's actually doing pretty good. That is, whoa, barometer struggling on it with the wind coming past. That is not too bad, to be perfectly honest. You can actually go make it a bigger circle if you like. You can make sure it don't whack a tree. If you think you're going to hit a tree, you can just ascend as well, and you can descend as well. You literally got everything you can do with it, sort of thing, and then bring it in closer to you as well. So actually quite a nice little orbit. They're getting better and better on these little GPS things. Quite cool. And actually, like I say, doing it manually is a lot more fun. Not quite as accurate, I must admit. And then to stop that, I think that's that one again. There we go, yep, and then instantly it goes back to GPS mode. We've got a follow me function here, so let's just press that. It's just going to have a little look around for me. There we go, it's found me. Obviously, alter your camera angle. Whoa, there's some big puddles around here. This is not an area I've ever flown in before, though it is pretty cool, and it's really nice and windy, so it's good for checking these things out. Hey, that's working, look at that. Obviously, if I pointed the camera angle up, it would be even better. But yeah, it's definitely following me. Now, the only thing with follow me, I've used them on my mountain bike a few times, which is actually good fun. The only thing is, if you ride through any trees, it's amazing how quickly they stop when they hit trees, drones. Mind you, the trees don't come off. You don't damage a tree, and certainly not in the Highlands, not with these ones. There we go, yeah, and if I start to walk back towards it, it'll probably back away from me. There we go. And we should be able to still, yeah, so we can still lower it, we can still change everything on it, but it is just following us as well. That's actually very nice. Like I say, the apps are getting really good on certain things. Having said that, I played around with this at home and I tried to set in the coordinates on here. All it does is just give me a plain screen. I've tried everything. I've tried zooming in, zooming out. I can't get it to work. I've tried downloading stuff at home, making it work. It just doesn't seem to work. That could be my phone. To be honest, I'm never really that impressed with the waypoint thing. Fly it. You've got a great little Wi-Fi FPV. I mean, it's not good enough to actually hunt through trees, but you could fly over things and set up your shot without any problem. So yeah, it's not something that I'm really that bothered about. We've got some other things here which I really don't like, but I'll try and show them to you if I can remember what the heck they are. You've got gesture modes, so instead of you having to do all the work of pressing these buttons, yeah, you know, which is really tedious, isn't it? I mean, taking a still takes all of that effort. Oh yeah, you've got these gesture modes, which is this one here. And let me just, you have to bring it in quite close to you, which is another thing. If you're new to flying, you can get a little bit nervous. By the way, brushless motors are not forgiving. Yeah, a brush motor you can usually stop quite easily. A brushless is going to really hurt, I can tell you. Okay, so you simply press this one on here, and then if we hold our finger, whoops, the wind is really catching it now. There we go, and then there's a countdown to take the photograph, which I never actually understand it. What's wrong with using the buttons? I don't know. And you can do a video sign as well, which is very difficult to do when you're holding this, but it's basically sort of like that. I don't even know whether I'm going to get that in shot, and then it will start shooting video. I have no idea why on earth you would want to bother with that. The instructions, unfortunately, are all in Chinese. You don't seem to be able to get those back into English. The records is basically what flights you've had and everything, so that's rather good. And then the settings are a little bit limited. You don't have an awful lot you can set up in here. We do have a stabilization in here as well, so I'll just give that a quick go this time. It'll be a software stabilization, because there's no stabilization on the actual lens. We just see how we get on with that sort of thing. I've got other ways around that I might mention later on, and 4K correction on and off as well, and record off and on. I think that's for your dates and things. And you've got English or Chinese language, so just going to leave it as it is. Going to be quite pleased with what it's been doing. and then we're all ready to go. To actually use the zoom, you can either just do it with your fingers, or it's actually, if you press this one here, you get a zoom slider here, so you can actually use that up and down as well. And like I say, it's not something I'd really use, to be honest. I'd zoom it up when I'm actually processing it, sort of thing. You can rotate it as well, so if it's upside down or anything, you can rotate it round on your screen if you haven't got autocorrect screen. This takes you into your images that you've already taken and your videos and everything, and this is their thing where you can add music, etc. So it's got a few little things on it. You can also put it into VR, so you have VR glasses. I'm going to see how good this gets on with the FPV. Perhaps we could use it. Oh damn it, it's picked up blinking GPS signals in here. It's picked up 8. Look at that. Oh, what a shame. I'm going to start the video, and let's hope I can get up before it gets lock. Oh, that's interesting. Now I'm priming the motors and it won't let me take off without it picking up a GPS signal. Nope, not going to do anything. Nada. Well, that's a shame. Because actually, when does the optical flow work then? That's quite interesting, that. Unless the optical flow comes in when it gets about 30 feet above the ground, which is about when it starts to work. Now we've picked up enough GPS signals, which I'm quite impressed with, because it's a dense canopy here. Let's see how we get on now. Yep, it's on GPS now. Look at that. That's pretty impressive, actually. Oh, no, it's not. Whoa. Oh, it's orbiting round. Whoa. I haven't touched anything there. It's just struggling a wee bit. Okay, going to run some footage so you can see what it looks like at full screen, and while I do the summary. Now, the actual drone itself, everything's pretty good on it. They've sort of got the right ideas, but there's a couple of little things that are little anomalies that I think are rather strange. If you want to fly it in the optical flow, so basically you're going to use this indoors or somewhere where you can't pick up a GPS signal, it won't actually take off until you've got a GPS signal. Once you get it in the air, then you can literally take it indoors and the optical flow will kick in. Now, I've played around with this, and that does work, but that's a really weird thing to set up. That just seems a bit crazy to me. It should just be able to take off with no GPS signal, and then when you pick up a GPS signal, it should go. Saying about the GPS, I literally only calibrated it once on the compass, and I've never calibrated it since, and I've flown, a good few miles away from different places. Tried the return to home, worked every single time from where I took off, where I bound it and took off from. When the battery gets really low, and I was getting about 20 minutes flight, something like that. To be honest, I wasn't concentrating too much on the length of flight. You get a good length of flight, I would say, certainly around the 20-minute mark from what I can see from my video footage. It does have a return to home. It starts beeping on the transmitter that you're running low on battery, and this does an auto return to home, which is really nice as well. The follow me worked well, and the surround worked well as well. Yeah, both of those are really good, though it does have quite a bit of a delay. When it's coming home, it just literally holds in the air for ages. You think it's never going to come down, but you can override that, just turn it off, as I showed you in the review. And that does the same when it's actually going into orbit as well. It's sort of, by the time it's turned around and gone away, it's taken a few seconds, which just seems, I don't see any reason why it should be doing that. The batteries are I'm hoping it's dark enough now, because we've not got a great day here. If I press this, hold it down, the LEDs come on, and then it shows how much power you've got in them, which is rather good, so that's quite nice. It will just sit like that. You have to then turn it back off again. Transmitter worked really well, and as you saw, the range was phenomenal, really, wasn't it? And it would have probably kept on going more. I always just get a bit nervous when it's starting to get out of sight, but you saw how far it went. That was pretty damn impressive, I thought, for this sort of level of drone. You can't fly it on the app. Now, a lot of them you can fly them on the app, and they're really good, but they haven't done that with this at all. And you're very limited on what you can set in the app. That's why I showed you the actual controls of it and everything. It's quite limited, but these things are all in development, and as it develops, you just get the updates as well. So all in all, for around, I think it's around about £150, I think it's pretty good for what it is, but there is a lot in the market now, and I'm going to do a few more reviews on them as well, this sort of level of drone. But as usual, links down in description. Go and take a look at it and see what prices they've got on. Any deals I can find, I'll put in there as well. I hope you've enjoyed the review, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.